What's up, DC Nation? Welcome back to another video. And guys, if you like the video, give a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe because I always bring DC Comics content every day that you don't want to miss out on. But guys, today it's kind of bad news. Like, it's breaking news actually. So I found out, I was looking at some reports, right? And as you saw in the title, there's some rumors that DC Comics may be ending. Now, it's not official yet at all, but it's depending on their upcoming event, 5G. Now, if you haven't heard of DC Comics' upcoming event, 5G, what it pretty much is, Didio pretty much put it out there, is that the characters of the DC universe, like Batman, Superman, they grow older, and they come in more in line with their 80-year history, and the new versions in 2020 heroes take their place. So there's like a black Batman, a younger Superman, different kinds of these characters. And for me personally, I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. Like, why make these the heroes that we've been liking all these years older and replace them? Like, there's really no point. Like, we had a reboot like this a couple years, well, not a couple years back, a long time back, well, 4 years ago. DC Rebirth, that was the reboot that pretty much made it better and brought all these characters back in line with what they were, and everybody jumped on the bandwagon. I loved it, everybody loved what they were doing, and it's been great for a long time. But now they're deciding to wipe that all away, make these characters older, and bring in new characters that we don't really care about. Like, I don't care. If you put a random person in the Bat costume, unless they convince me, at first thought, I'm not gonna be excited at all. But like Bruce Wayne, you have him in there. Damian Wayne, you have Nightwing in there. But if you just get a random person and put him in the Bat costume and say, hey, this is our new Batman, or this is our new Superman, I'm just not a big fan of that. But I'm not gonna like say it's bad yet because it hasn't really came out full. Like, if they release like the whole description like full in and we start seeing these new comics and I start liking it, then full on, like, I'll keep reading the comics. But if it's not that good and we don't see like the classic Batman stories that we've been wanting and actually been getting the past few years that DC Comics have been doing well, then it kind of ruins the whole thing of DC Rebirth. They're just backsliding. So the whole plan of AT&T, who actually bought Warner Bros. A couple years back, they're saying like pretty much Ethan Van Sciver, he's actually an artist at DC Comics, and he actually did the art for Green Lantern, DC Rebirth. That series was dope. Like, that was a good series, guys, and the art in that was amazing. It was perfect for a Green Lantern comic. But Ethan Van Sciver says that pretty much he heard from a higher up in like the ranks that if 5G fails, then DC Comics will be ending. Because pretty much comic sales is one of the weakest in the market. It's not doing as well, which I'm surprised but not surprised at the same time, because pretty much DC Comics wasn't doing good at the end of New 52, and when they did DC Rebirth, it made it all better. But I see how now their sales are dropping because, like, with recent stuff like Alfred's death, Tom King mostly, Wally West's death, all sorts of stuff that's going around pissing off DC Comics fans, and they just stop reading the comic books. That's not good for sales at all. And yes, they're kind of course correcting, like James Tynion 4 and Batman. Justice League just ended Scott Snyder's run, so that wasn't really good. But then again, he's doing Dark Knight's Death Metal, which looks awesome, and that's like another reason I don't want DC Comics to end. Like, honestly, even if 5G is not good, I hope it succeeds, because I want it to do well, and then eventually we get back to the DC Comics we like right now. Like, hopefully 5G actually still keeps in line with that. Like, we still get classic stories, great stories, just a little spin on them a little bit. Like, I'd be fine with that. But if they change the whole thing and make it, oh, new universe, new this, then I'm like, why? We didn't really need that. Like, I get, if they bring back Alfred, okay, that'd be great. Like, that'd be cool, no doubt. But if you take out other characters and replace their personalities, replace the characters in the costume, I'm just not a big fan of that. But still, I want DC Comics to succeed because I want to see more stories like Dark Knight's Death Metal, Dark Knight's Metal, Scott Snyder's Justice League, Scott Snyder's Batman, the Flash comic, like Joshua Williams stories, Justice League Dark, all sorts of comics like that. Those are great comics that I don't want to end. Because being a DC Comics fan, you check out, you always have like your pull list, right? Like, I have my pull list each week, and you get those comics, and it's just kind of exciting, because you're like, oh, I wonder what the writer's going to do this week. Oh, what's going to happen with this character? And also kind of helps the movies too, because if you guys don't know, the movies go by the comics. Like, yes, the movies go against it sometimes, change the source material, but they usually take something from the comics in each movie. So if you took out the comics, eventually, probably not a while, because it's like 80 years of history, but eventually they'll run out of ideas. And there's times in TV shows and movies that like derive from the comics, they sometimes like use up a bunch of storylines in one storyline on their show or movie. So stopping those stories in the DC comics would kind of put a handicap on the movies too, because then now these new stories, like actually, for example, Flash. They're taking from Black Hole right now. They're taking from Godspeed. They're taking from recent stuff. Now in future seasons, when they want to take from the comics, what if there's no comics to take from? Now they have to start coming up with their original stories, which yes, it's kind of 50-50. That could be awesome, but that could also be bad at the same time, because like the comics are so good and it just makes the TV shows even better, because us as fans, we like to speculate, oh, what story are they going to do this time? And just not having any more stories to speculate about would it'd ruin the experience. But guys, another report that came out recently was that Didio, he actually left DC. Well, we don't know if he left or he got fired, but I can get why they did this, because he's been doing some bad choices lately with like Wally West, killing him off. Like the whole point of DC Rebirth was to bring back Wally West and pretty much establish this whole like lighter tone in the DC universe. But then you kill him off, and then now you're doing him killing Dr. Manhattan, which on one hand I'm like, alright, that's kind of cool, but I want to see him be like the fast speedster that we saw in Joshua Williams' Flash. Like that whole storyline was great. Flash War, all that stuff. But then when they killed him off, and what they've been doing with him recently, it's just not been good. And guys, the one shot coming out, I think it's Generation Zero. My thoughts on that, like, I'm a little worried, alright? Like, the cover looks dope. Like, it looks cool. Like, Francis Manpaul does a great job on those covers. But, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, I wanna know, like, something more than just, oh, Wally West is kinda like Dr. Manhattan, and changes are coming to the DC Universe. Like, are these changes gonna be good or great? And if this, like, one shot doesn't convince me and be excited for 5G, it'll just make me more worried for 5G. So, guys, the big thing to take out all this is that, like, DC Comics, it's always been doing well, and it's been doing good in like movies, TVs, but the comic industry has been going down sales for years now. And with like this announcement about, oh, Didio leaving DC, made DC Comics ending, and 5G doesn't work, I think it would be bad for DC, because I don't see Marvel ending their comic industry. Like, honestly, I like DC Comics more than Marvel Comics. But guys, with Marvel, like, I feel like some of the comics are good, and they actually, like, they're really good, but a lot of them I feel are trash, because they're just simple, and the storyline's just not really there. Like, I could dig deeper into that, but not being that much of a Marvel fan, you'll probably say, oh, you're biased toward DC. So I'm not going to dig as much with that, because I know there's Marvel fans out there, I respect their opinion for that, but for me personally, I like DC Comics more. And I wouldn't like it if they just ended the comic industry. Because one, less for me to talk about, and two, I just get excited to check out the comics each week. It like creates experience for comic readers and just fans of the characters. But guys, in the comment section below, tell me what you think about 5G, about Didio leaving DC, and about DC Comics ending. Like, would you be sad? What are you like looking forward to with 5G, or what are you looking for like the future of DC Comics? And do you think this will actually happen? Like, let me say again, like Didio leaving, that's not a rumor. But this other stuff is pretty much a rumor. Like, I explained 5G, but the thing about DC Comics ending, like, it is a rumor for now, and I hope it stays that way. But guys, if you like the video, give a big thumbs up and hell yeah, bro. Subscribe to my channel because I always bring DC Comics content every day they don't want to miss out on. Alright guys, that's the video. Peace out.